Can't believe it. Maybe a little more. Okay, this is Tammy, and I am live today, and I'm talking about the Saboteur, the power of archetypes. And so, what made me start to think about that is that's something that I am healing. That's something that I am healing, and it came up for me. It has come up for me a few times, but it came up for me recently. And so I decided to talk about it and unpack it. And I hope that's okay with you guys. And so I want to start with giving you the definition of the saboteur. So the saboteur archetype, in archetypes, let me backtrack. Archetypes are patterns of behavior, just patterns of behavior that you'll notice. Typically, we all have most of them. Um, Depends on the scale of the trauma that you have experienced. This one is the saboteur archetype. It is a self-destructive tendency that seeks to undermine our success and happiness through self-sabotage. It's one of the four survival archetypes identified by Carolyn Mace in her work on sacred contracts. The archetype is formed in our psyche when we are exposed to fear. So it really is based on the trauma, the self-doubt, the lack of self-esteem or unworthiness that we experience. And so I wanted to just kind of touch a little bit on that because I know that that is something that many, most of us, probably 99.9% of us have dealt with or do deal with. And so when I think about the journey of life, it's all about becoming comfortable with your creative side and with your creator side because we are creators of our life, whether we know it or not, whether we want to admit it or not. The thing, whatever what you are living is what you created. And so in order to begin to shift all of this, you want to deal with your inner saboteur. And so typically when you are experiencing your inner saboteur, a lot of times it will look like procrastination. It'll look like you're just, you know, not doing this. And also what sabotage does is it gives you excuses. It allows you to blame other people outside of yourself for not fulfilling your destiny, the thing that you wanted to do. In short, what I discovered is it is giving away your power because you give your power to this inner saboteur. When something comes up, you want to do something. And so I'm going to share a story time from my own life because those are the examples that I know. And so for me, I deal with the inner saboteur like I am really working to build my business and create a life that I love. Because my career that I have been in for all of these years, I am done and I'm tired, and it's time for me to shift and move out of that and do something different. But sometimes what my inner saboteur does is say, okay, you know, this, you're doing this, you've been doing this for a little while and it's not really working, and nobody is coming into your container, and you know, you're not making any moves, nothing is happening. And so my inner saboteur comes in and says, you know what, why don't you just quit this and don't worry about this, go do something else. And so I've discovered it because I've discovered, you know, one of the main patterns in my life is walking away. And so what I discovered with that is walking away can be a really good thing. I mean, I have experienced amazing results from walking away. But sometimes walking away is that inner saboteur because sometimes you need to stay in the fight or stay in the journey, stay on the journey, you know, but you walk away. And sometimes we walk away too soon. I see that in marriages. I see it in life. I see it in jobs, all kinds of stuff. Um, Relationships, you know, you walk away, you know, and sometimes it is transformative and sometimes it is just another act of the saboteur archetype, you know, showing its face for you. And so you really start to create, you know, all kinds of drama around decisions that you need to make or things that you want to do. You know, maybe, you know, if this didn't happen, then, oh, then I'm not supposed to have that. You know, like I decide I want to go try for a house and then it doesn't work out, the financing falls through or whatever. Then I say, oh, I just must not, you know, need a house. I must not be a person that is going to live in a house. You know, so these are things that the saboteur archetype will come up for you in your mind. And so I submit to you that instead of, you know, giving away our power, that we lean into it, that we sit down and we actually, you know, take a moment and think about, or either write, you know, because I have these cards that I keep all over. So sometimes if I get a thought, I'll sit down and I'll just, you know, write it out, you know, so I won't forget it. And so I can start to use it, because that is really what the thing is. It's like we have this inner saboteur, and it tells us that, you know, whatever the thing that we're trying to do is not going to happen. It talks to us and it tells us, oh, you know, well, you're not Oprah, you know. As much as you know, you love Super Soul Sunday, you're not Oprah, so you know you can't do that. Or you know what, you're this. And it also stems from trauma of our ancestry, I can see. Because you know, some things come up and it's like, okay, you know, I can't do that because you know I'm black. You know, they discriminate against us. You know, a lot of times, you know, opportunities are stolen and taken away just because of that. And I've experienced that in my life. And so my inner saboteur sometimes can use that as a way to block me and stop me from doing the things that I know that I'm being called to do. And I hope this makes sense to somebody, because it kind of like rolled out of me this morning, and I kind of was like, okay, I need to get on there and I need to talk about this, because I know that if it's rolling out of me and if I'm channeling this amazingness, then you know there are other people that are dealing with this. Because what I find is when I think that I have overcome this saboteur archetype, because I've been working on that for a while. When I discovered it a few years ago, when I started doing a lot, diving deep into some of this work, I discovered this inner saboteur. Then I decided that I needed to do everything that I could to begin to, you know, make friends with the saboteur and to love on it and heal it, you know, because I really believe that because it is a result of trauma, and typically traumas that you've had in your life. And so, you know, a lot of times what happens, because I'm going to use another example, when years ago I was selling okay, so I've always been an entrepreneur at heart, so I've always been selling something. Now, never did I ever make really any major money selling anything in the past. And so when I started to engage my creative side, and I started doing things like making this jewelry that I have on, these cute little earrings, I started making them. I don't know if y'all can see them, but they're the cutest little things. And so I started making that, you know, and I just, and then I started, you know, I went and did some marketplaces and I started selling some things. I also am an Avon representative. I also have an Amazon shop. So I do not, you know, I am really serious about um, streams of income, multiple streams of income. You know, so I have my hand in a few things. And so when I started back again doing this, because I did this in the past and I actually did decent, like I did, like I said, I didn't make no thousands and thousands of dollars a month, but I might make 500, you know, or $1,000 in a month, you know, something like that, you know. And I probably, knowing me, I probably sold it for too little and all that kind of stuff. And at that time, it was a little bit more difficult to get information, because you would have to go, you know, to the library, find a book, and, you know, read the book and all this stuff. You know, now you can do audibles. I love audibles. You can do audibles. You can go on Udemy and find courses, which I have. Some I need to finish. You can go on so many different sites. I found probably 3 or 4 different free sites where you can go and get education and learn some things. So, you know, so many ways. But back then, there was not all those ways. Back then, you had to go to the library. You couldn't even go on the internet because there was no internet. But you could go to the library and get whatever you needed. You know, go to the card catalog and look shit up. Or I think by the time I was in high school, there was a digital card catalog. So you could actually look it up online, which was amazing. Because before, there was these long drawers with these little cards and you just look shit up, and that was the way we did it. And so you could actually, create a saboteur for that, because you say, oh, you know what? I don't know because I have to go to the library and I have to go look in those cards and I have to go look that up. My vision is blurry. I can't really see that good. There's all kinds of things that you can tell yourself about this inner saboteur, and you can keep yourself stuck, because really that is what that is. That inner saboteur keeps you stuck. And so one thing that I know that helps is to just go forward. So when you are experiencing that inner saboteur and it's talking to you and telling you crazy shit in your head, just go forward. Just go forward. Just go forward. You know what I mean? Just go forward. Just go forward and just tell people, you know, that this is what I'm doing. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what you say. I don't care, because this is what I am doing. I am not sabotaging myself anymore. I am taking back my power. I listened to a show with Dr. Michael Beckwith last night, and it was so good. It was so good. I can't even remember the girl's name. It was something that started with an A, like not Alexis. I can't remember, but it was so good. And it was just, I think it was just yesterday or something, but the show was amazing. And he was talking about taking back your power and taking back your life. And so a part of dealing with this saboteur archetype, and it really is an energy, a part of dealing with that is really going forward. And whatever it is that it feels like you're trying to get sabotaged with, like if you decided that you're going to go to a networking, event because, you need to get yourself out there because you want to grow your business and you want to get more clients and you want to, offer your services to more, community partners. And so you want to grow partners. And so you decided to go to a networking event. Okay, so what happened is, at right at the last minute, um, something comes up and you say, oh, you know what, I'm not going to go to that because I need to take care of this. But it was something that you could have taken care of the next day. You did not have to take care of it at that moment. And so that was an opportunity of self-sabotage right there. That was the saboteur archetype right there, because you could have decided to take care of this thing tomorrow, or later in that day. Say the networking event was at 1 o'clock in the daytime. You could have decided to take care of that after the networking event, But the other part of that is when you are in that saboteur archetype, you deem things, you put importance on things that are not important many times. So you put importance on that thing that you stopped, that you didn't go to the networking event to do. You know what I mean? And so you put importance on that, then you didn't get what you needed to do with the networking event. Now, the other part to that is possibly that it could also be an intuitive hit. And what you have to do is to try to determine whether it is intuitive hit or not. Well, nowadays you could call the people and say, are you still having this meeting? Because sometimes that comes up as well as an intuitive hit. It's like, okay, you don't need to do that because they're canceling this meeting or whatever, because sometimes they cancel them at the last minute. And so you're excuse me, let me drink some tea. So they cancel them at the last minute, and so you're in this space where they've canceled this thing at the last minute. And so they canceled this thing at the last minute. And so you are at that intuitive hit where, you got this other thing come up because, you say, oh, I need to do this, blah, blah, blah. And so, you were in the vein. But oftentimes it's not that. There are times that it is that. And like I said, today you could call and say, hey, are you still having it? And that way you know. You know what I'm saying? So that is another thing that would have been a barrier, in the old days, because, often people, there were no cell phones, and often people might not have actually been at the event destination, all kinds of things, but that was another thing that you could blame and a barrier that you could put up saying, you know what? Oh, well, I'm not going to do this because I have this thing that popped up and blah, 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 blah. Even though that's something that wasn't immediate, you didn't have to do it that moment. you know, but that just sabotaged you from doing this work that you felt like you needed to do in order to grow your business. So super, super excited about this little talk that I just did today. Um, I hope that was healthy for you that deal with the inner saboteur archetype, because that is like such a space of self-destructive behavior. And so really, and it's funny because I've never actually heard anybody put it like that. You know, the saboteur archetype is such self-destructive behavior, you know, because really it just comes up to block you from, to be honest with you, I feel like it comes up to block you from your blessings. So those blessings that you were, you know, wanting to get, those blessings that you were needing to, you know, you were needing, it comes up to block that, and it gives you reasons and excuses and blame and all of these things, you know, why you didn't do this. Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I do that? Why? You know? So, again, thank you for hanging out with me. I appreciate you for joining me today. If you are watching, if you just scrolled by, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. That for more, so that you'll get notifications when I do these pop-up lives like I just did today, and I typically do every day. I'm also live on TikTok at Intuitive Tammy, where I do healings, messages from spirit, messages from heaven, and prayers. Every hour I pray on when I'm on that app. So if that's something that you are looking for, join me there at Intuitive Tammy. You could also follow me on Instagram at Intuitive Tammy 56, on Facebook at Tammy Morrison. And I also have to tell you guys that I also have sessions that I offer, holistic healing sessions, 45 minutes, and I offer them to help you. You'll get typically messages from spirit, messages from heaven could possibly come through. There are also energy healing that will take place in this session, but they're amazing 45-minute sessions. The cost of it is $155. And I also have packages that you can get where you can work with me on for 3 months or 6 months. Usually, typically, that looks like 2 sessions a month on Zoom. And I think, um, I can't even remember. I don't remember the prices, but it's on my website. So my website is https colon backslash backslash tammymorrison.com. That is my website, and all of those sessions I think are on there. If not, you can always reach out to me, send me, a message on the website as well. And then I also have my free mini course on intuition, unlocking your intuition, on my website. So you can, when you go on my website, you can grab that for free. That's my free gift to you. So again, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your time. Thank you for those of you that catch the replay. I would love it if you would drop some comments about this. How do you deal with your inner saboteur? Or do you have an inner saboteur? Share some of that with us. I would appreciate that, and it'll also tell the algorithm gods that I am here. So I appreciate all of you, and I thank you for joining me today. And I'll see you on tomorrow. Bye now.